Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another relaxed retro talk. Tonight, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while.
It has been a while.
I think December we did like our end of the year.
Yeah, we did the Discord
show.
Awards. Yeah, we did. But I mean, in there you've got Christmas and New Year's. You've got Return Back to Work.
Yeah.
Plus, schedules have been a disaster, and while the time change is active, you and I have like limited hours together.
Yeah, it's very true.
The schedule's
it's
destroyed.
after midnight right now for me. So.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, you want to do a podcast? I should be sleeping, but we'll make this
yeah,
work.
I got training tomorrow morning. So, but we've been wanting to do this for a while, and we wanted to talk about a lot of the games to look forward to this year, because a lot of the past, I want to say like 5 or so years, it's been like maybe one game per year to look forward to, and I feel like this year they're really pouring it on with
oh yeah,
big game announcements. Some of them might be coming out this year, some of them might not, but most of them we're anticipating they could be coming out this year. So we did up kind of a list of games, and I think it would be best, like you mentioned, to start with Pokemon Legends Arceus, just because it's already out now.
Yeah, well, because we were looking through the list and we were like, oh, Arceus is on here, back when we were excited for it.
Yeah, back when we were excited for it, for sure.
It's, you know what? Here's the thing with Arceus is I appreciate the fact that they tried something different.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't re-release the same Pokemon game ever, that they always do. You know, they just did Shining Diamond and
Brilliant Pearl or something.
Brilliant Pearl. And Brilliant Diamond, Shining
Pearl. Yeah.
Got it backwards. And so they just re-released that. And the thing is, and we've talked about Pokemon a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of the same Pokemon game released and then subsequently re-released again. They're like, hey, remember that game you played 20 years ago? Well, guess what? We're going to remake it and give it back to you again. Okay, that's great. I'm glad. I need new content, though, right? Like,
yeah.
I need something new. This time, they went in a new direction, but the kind of thing I've been saying about Pokemon Arceus is that they're like, we need something fresh.
Yeah.
Let's make Monster Hunter.
yeah, basically.
And they kind of just jacked that play style and put it into Pokemon Universe, which it's great, but I mean, would it be so hard for them to create a Pokemon game where you're a trainer and you run out and catch Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
And you do stuff, and it's kind of got the MMO open world feel, but it plays like an actual Pokemon game.
Yeah.
Would that be so difficult?
Not at all.
But
that would
don't
take an
understand.
ounce of effort from the Pokemon company, and they know they don't have to do that because everyone's gonna buy it. I guarantee you. I mean, even look at Sword and Shield. Like everyone says Sword and Shield is the worst one. And it's missing the national decks. It's missing. Well, I mean, you can get the national decks if you want to pay an extra $59.99
or whatever it is.
But it's the best-selling Pokemon game, so that just proves their method right. You know.
Yeah.
Release the shittiest games and profit.
Maybe we're in the minority here. I don't know. I would like to think we're not in the minority and that people are buying that because they're so starved for Pokemon content that they'll pay for something subpar. But truthfully, like, come on, like, I don't like DLC at the best of times.
Yeah.
And when you
unless it's free DLC, which some companies do and is fucking awesome, but
doo-doo. When you plan day one DLC, I'm out. Yep. Game over for me. I'm not in because you can't do that to me. I'm not interested in that. And furthermore, when you take something out of the game, as in Sword Shield, they're like, hey, we're not putting any of these Pokemon in. Just kidding. Here's all the Pokemon that you said you wanted. But you're going to have to pay a little extra for it. As soon as that game cost me $150 to own it.
Shit.
I'm out.
Yeah.
And that's that. And it's sad because I like Pokemon. I like playing Pokemon games, but then I'm like, well, what's the big deal? I'll just go back and play one of the games I've had since 1996 or 1997. Fine. I'll go back and play those games because you're just going to re-release them anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, with the re-release or remake, if you will, of Pearl and Diamond. Pearl and Diamond, like Gen 4 is like the probably the best or second best gen in my opinion.
Yep.
And they put absolute minimal effort into that remake. Like,
it's basically a ROM with better graphics.
It is. It's just like, it's fucking brutal, man. It's worse graphics. The sprites look better than the fucking big head mobile game looking shit graphics. It's stupid. Yeah. They could have made it look like, even if it just looked like X and Y graphics, that would have been better than what they have. Because it looks horrible.
For the game developers out there, there is an audience for a Pokemon clone that plays the way a new Pokemon game should.
Yeah.
A lot of games are trying to capture that. The problem is that Pokemon's got those specific Pokemon.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. And you've got Pokemon that you love, right? And they're not going to be in those games.
And when you create a brand new game, that's something that doesn't transfer. But I really think that there's a space out there for a game if they could pull it off. That basically is a Pokemon clone, but done the way that they should have done it. And there's hacked ROMs out there.
Yeah.
If Fates was playing that Uranium game,
that was
Pokemon
fantastic. Uranium, yeah.
That was great. And that's a fan-made game, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so you know that people are out there like, we could do this better.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, well, if you think you could do it so much better, then go for it. And then people do, and then Nintendo's like,
Nintendo cease and desists. Yeah. Well, even us, longtime listeners are gonna think we hate Pokemon because we're always shitting on like newer Pokemon games. Pokemon. But we started playing Poke MMO because we needed something to scratch that itch.
That's right.
And Poke MMO is like one of the better Pokemon games because you could just go from region to region, which is kind of, in my opinion, how it always kind of should have been. Because Gen 1 and 2 had that, and then Gen 3 kind of dropped it, right? But this kind of gives you the ability to do all the different regions and stuff on one save file.
They would make a stupid amount of money if they just did their own MMO.
Yeah.
Now, if they can't make it like crappy and they can't crap it out, they've got to think about it and they've got to do it properly. But truthfully, if they were to release a game where you and I can jump into the same world and we can catch Pokemon together, we can battle, we can trade, we can run. You know, we can fight battles together and stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm buying that game.
Yeah, same. Yep.
I would pay monthly for that game.
I would not pay monthly for that game.
I mean, like in an MMO model, in an MMO model, if they're like it's $12 per month, but here's all the things that you get, I'm probably in on that at least for a few months.
Yeah.
Right. Because the thing is that's what's needed. It's been what's been needed for years now.
Oh yeah. Pokemon is one of the series that it just feels natural for it to be an MMO because of how the world's
big wide open world.
Yeah,
and the content's already there. They just got to do it.
Yeah, and I
just got to build it, and that's it.
I feel like with an MMO, they could get away from like shitifying the graphics. You know, they wouldn't
100%.
have to put as much effort into the graphics because they would have enough core game there. But as you were mentioning, kind of before, like what would it take? Like why can't they just do an open world Pokemon game? Blah blah blah, and people will argue, well, Arceus Legends or Legends Arceus is that? Well, no, it isn't because Legends Arceus has like one fucking town. You know what I mean? Like I want to explore a fucking region. It's a very
small world.
Yeah. It's open world, but it's like there's nothing in it, and all the Pokemon stand there like fucking statues. Like they don't fucking interact. Like look at either the old or the new Pokemon Snap. The Pokemon are all interacting with each other, swimming on their backs down the fucking river. You don't see any of that shit in Legends Arceus. You just see like that's all the Pokemon do.
And then you get within range and they charge you.
And then they start walking towards you. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't do anything better than that. Even Xenoblade, which we will get to later. Xenoblade, the monsters in even the first one, they're always, like, interacting with each other.
Stuff's going on.
Some of them are, like beating the shit out of each other. And then you can, you could kind of pick them off for the cheap EXP and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, come on. That was a fucking Wii game, man.
Yeah. I specifically didn't learn a lot about Arceus to keep my expectations tempered. And then when it dropped, that kind of week before it released, there's some leaks, and you had your hands on a copy of it, and it just didn't hit. Some people really enjoyed it. And hey, you know what? If you really enjoy it, I'm glad. I'm happy that that's a game for you.
Yeah.
But after looking at it and checking out the videos and watching people stream it, it's just not a game for me. It felt really fetchy. Right? There's just like quests, and it's like, go catch this Pokemon.
Man.
Okay, now that you caught this Pokemon, I want to see this move 50 times.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I saw this move 50 times, go catch this Pokemon. Okay, I want to see this move 50 times.
Catch me 6 more Bidoofs, please, kind sir.
And it's
like,
just
come on, dude.
That's not for me. That's not a game for me. I'm not that kind of a game player, but if you enjoyed it, I'm glad that you did. It was a bit of a flop for me, which is unfortunate. I was looking forward to it.
I honestly felt like I was playing I was like quality testing a future game. That's what I felt like.
Right.
Yeah. A PS2 game, a future PS2 game. Yeah. Honestly,
there is good stuff about it.
People will say, "Ooh, graphics aren't everything, dude." You're fucking preaching to the choir here. I play fucking like 16-bit JRPGs my entire life. Graphics aren't everything. I don't give a shit.
You're playing a Game Boy game today.
Yeah.
Graphics don't matter.
I don't give a shit about graphics. If your game looks like it has no soul and there's no movement, there's no life to it, it's trash.
Yeah. That's not a graphics problem.
No, that's not a graphics problem.
It's not a graphics.
Final
it's the way that the
Fantasy XII
world's
on the
generated.
PS2. The monsters are fighting each other in that too. Like that was an early PS2, or not early, but like a mid-life PS2 game.
Yep.
And it has more life than this fucking Nintendo Switch game that this console came out after the PS4.
Chrono Trigger had monsters fighting each other.
Right, it did on the fucking Super Nintendo. Like, come on.
Somebody had mentioned it in the Discord, and I don't remember who. I don't want to attribute it to the wrong person, but they had said that the game felt like it was a prototype for a future Pokemon game.
Yeah.
And that there was things in it that were good. For example, the fact that you have a move pool now to pull from.
That you can swap
that's
moves
really cool. I really thought that was a good idea. Now I don't have to kind of be like, do I get rid of this move?
Yeah, because it's gone forever. Unless you go back to some town to get the move relearner or whatever.
Which usually you need a special item, and there's all these steps you go through, right?
Yes,
the fact that there's a move pool now, that's a game changer. Mm-hmm. I really, really like that idea. There was a few other things in Arceus where I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
And you know that they put that in there because they want to go like, did this play out? Then they're going to dump it into the next follow-up for Sword and Shield. But it's like, that's not what I want to play. I don't want to test this game out for you.
Exactly. I'm not going to pay fucking $80 to be a game tester for your fucking $80 for now game.
Didn't they announce a DLC for it already?
No, they didn't announce it, but the guys that have been doing all the leaks found the DLC. So, yeah.
The planned DLC, and the game's been out a week.
Fucking stupid, man. But we should probably move on.
Yeah, a bit of a flop.
Rage on.
Let's move to something more exciting.
Yeah, let's get to the positive stuff, which is mostly what this podcast is about.
That's right. Turn around. So, the next one on the list here is Advance Wars 1 and 2. Was it Reloaded?
Rebooted, because it's
Rebooted.
Or Reboot Camp or something like that.
Reboot Camp. Yeah, something like that. I really, really like Advance Wars.
Same.
I didn't play a whole lot of it back in the day. My older brother was like head over heels for this game, and we've talked on this podcast before about day one purchases. I am not. I've been burned so many times that I'm not a day one purchaser. And then Nintendo Direct was like, "Get ready, because there's a bunch of day one purchases coming."
Yeah,
it's like they just dropped all these games. And I got to tell you, Advance Wars is on my list of games that I'll be picking up day one.
Yeah, same.
And part of that I think is sentimental value to a certain degree, but honestly, just looking at the video caps, like the screenies that they've dropped, the game itself, and I know, and since it's a remake, you already know what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, you know it's gonna be good.
As long as they don't make some massive changes. Yeah, but for the most part, these games, every time they make a remake like this, tend to be for the better anyways.
Yeah.
So I don't really have... I don't think there's a lot of risk
Final
there.
Fantasy teams. Almost every remake is better than the original, definitely.
That's right. And so in this case, this one is fantastic. I love the concept. It's very, to me, it's light strategy. It's not like so heavy strategy that it's frustrating.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But
neither of us are
still...
big like tactical RPG guys, right?
No.
But it's like lighthearted strategy. Yeah.
And they said they added voice lines now. They've done voiceovers, which I think is
something that's
stellar.
Beyond Nintendo's comprehension.
Yeah, they tend not to do that.
Yeah.
So everything I've seen about this is really good. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a really good game.
Yeah, same. It looks really good. Another thing, I love the new artwork. Like it's perfect because it's like 3D-ish, but it doesn't stray. It doesn't change the spirit of the original.
It doesn't go into that weird graphic, like weird looking 3Ds. It's still got that kind of cell shaded.
Yeah, it looks really good. And the other big selling feature is I only played the original Advance Wars. I never played any of like the sequels and stuff. And so I think it's got like the original sequel and then the one after that as well.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Yeah, so I'm excited to play that for sure.
Yeah,
I hope they have an online component, and I think it said they did.
I think they did.
Do, I
think
your
they
own
said
maps. You can build your own maps and shit. That'll be fun as fuck. I think.
Yeah, it'll be really good. Yeah, we'll have to combo stream that.
Yeah, play each other's shitty maps.
Just
this max out Fog of War.
That's right.
Have a road going to fucking nowhere, and then
that's right. The death spike. I call this map the death pit.
Yeah, you're sending all your troops this way, but I built the map, so I'm coming from here.
It's a secret passage.
Yeah,
too funny.
Next up is actually a game that I had to book holidays, and they had to be in March, and I was like, what game in March here should I book holidays around? And right away, I was like, you know what? I had a blast with Chocobo Racing on PS1, and so I was like, fuck it, I'll just book holidays. I'll play some Chocobo's GP, right? And honestly, it looks great. It looks like your typical
really good.
kart racer.
Yep.
But a little bit tidied up from the previous one. And then you've got Steiner, you've got Vivi from Final Fantasy IX, you've got Terra from Final Fantasy VI. You got some great fucking characters.
It was a good cast.
And I was hyped for this shit. And then like the day after I booked my fucking holidays, they're like now you can get Cloud and Squall with this fucking Game Pass Season Pass DLC. And I'm like, why? Why would you do this?
Yep.
Why would you kill this fucking game that I've been looking forward to? And it's like, why is everyone going this path? Here's the thing. Dragon Quest, let's take a look at like Dragon Quest 9 back on the DS. And this is where I get into where DLC doesn't have to be a bad thing. Dragon Quest 9 every month, one of the main features of Dragon Quest 9 was its co-op gameplay. And one of the main characters runs an inn. And at this inn is where there's like this gateway to other worlds, so when you're playing co-op, if you were joining my game, you would come through that door, right, and you'd play in my world. But what it would do is monthly, it would have guests, and you would go upstairs and you would visit with the guests, and the guests were this free DLC of characters from all the previous games.
Okay.
Would show up as guests. And it's like, why are companies so fucking money grubbing that they can't just let you like unlock these characters and stuff? And but I did I reached out to one of my acquaintances who does work for Square Enix. It does sound like Squall for sure is earnable. Similar to in Yu-Gi-Oh! What are we playing? Master Duel or Duel Master or whatever. The season pass apparently is similar to the whatever it's called in this.
So it's like it's kind of like a what do they call battle pass?
Yeah, like a reward system, right? Yeah, a monthly reward system. And
so there's like a free track and a paid track.
Yeah, so apparently Squall is earnable on the free track, and then I think it sounds like Cloud is on the paid track, which is still fucking shit. But it sounds like in a way, I'm torn, man, because in a way it's like they're going to be continuously releasing new characters that aren't already in the game. That is a good thing. But the shitty thing is I don't want to pay more than the already probably $50 to $80 on this goddamn game to get characters that probably should have been in the game already or should have been unlockable like they are in every other kart racer.
And that is in itself the problem. Look, if you're going to charge me full price for the game, give me access to everything.
Yeah.
If you're going to make your game for free, or if you're going to drop the price of your game, then I'll look the other way.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the DLC track if it's a free game.
Yeah. If it comes out and the game's $40, I won't be too upset. But if it's an $80 full price
if you want $80
game,
out of me, yeah, no way.
Yeah.
It's just flat no. If you expect me to pay DLC on top of a video game, it better be an expansion pack. Yeah. Like in the form of like extra content.
Yeah.
There's games like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 did the Torna Gold.
And it's basically a standalone game now.
It's its own thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like here's a horse you can ride in the game now.
Yeah.
It's literally additional content that is completely optional that you don't need, but if you would like to expand the story, you can do so.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And technically that's what this is too, but it's like it's a kart racer, so it's like what do you have for variety but characters in a kart racing game?
That's right. The thing is that if you're going to be charging me, and I mean this gets me onto the Mario Kart DLC as well, but if you're going to be charging me this much money after I've already paid full price for your game, there's no way I'm not buying it. Because I already bought your game. If you want me to buy the DLC, make the game free.
Yeah.
Or decrease the cost of the game so that it balances out at the end. If you're going to charge me $150 and all I get is additional racers, forget it. I'm not paying even the $80 to buy your game. I don't need your game at that point. It's frustrating because the whole reason is they go, how can we continue to make money on a game we've already released?
Yeah, but it's not even released yet.
But it's going the path of Mario Kart is what I'm getting at. Mario Kart 8 was released on the Wii U back in 2009?
Yeah,
2012? Long time ago.
Yeah.
It's been out for years and years, right? And so they released it. They released the DLC within the Wii U. Then they ported the whole thing over to the Switch.
Oh, is that what Deluxe is? It's that plus the
DLC? If you rebuy Mario Kart 8, we'll include all the DLC we sold you on the Wii U for free as part of this kit. So people on the Switch are like, yeah, I need a Mario Kart game on my Switch, and they buy it, which has all of the DLC mixed into it.
God.
And now they're like, hey, why don't you buy this more DLC for Mario Kart 8? And everyone's going, where's Mario Kart 9? And they're like, we don't need to sell you Mario Kart 9.
Yeah.
We'll just keep reselling you more stuff for Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen? They'll release a new system, or they'll release Mario Kart 9. None of that'll be compatible.
Yeah.
And you get to rebuy everything all over again.
Do you want Nintendo 64 Rainbow Road? Because for $10, you can.
And so here's where I feel they're plotting, where Mario himself is plotting. No, where Nintendo is plotting to go with their DLC stuff, because they also mentioned with the Mario Kart DLC, it's included with part of your extended membership.
Yeah,
the one that you get the Nintendo 64.
I wonder if that's
Genesis,
selling as shitty as it should be,
and so they said you can pay $25 for the DLC for Mario Kart 8, or $25 for all of it.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, I see what you're doing. What they're going to start doing is these deluxe DLCs, they're going to throw them on that membership to get you to go over to it. It's going to be their version of Games Pass.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, if you want to play all this extra stuff, you can do it. $25, and look at all the extra stuff now that you get.
With that is so compared to so you got like PlayStation Plus. I don't know what Xbox has anymore. It's
just Xbox Live, and then their Games Pass is the other component to it.
So it's like so PlayStation Plus, you pay per year, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got the Nintendo Switch Online. First of all, Nintendo's Online is fucking garbage.
It's terrible.
You're paying for that already, though, and now they're wanting you to pay twice for it. Like
double it. Yeah,
that's bullshit, man.
Yeah, double it, and it doesn't increase the performance of the. If they were like, hey, give us another $25, we'll give you party and matchmaking, we'll give you in-party chat, we'll allow you to chat with each other, and we'll increase the quality of the connection, so that when you guys do play together, right?
We can't even play Super Mario World. Like, fucking... we tried playing... what was it? River City Ransom? And
River City Ransom. It was unplayable.
Unplayable lag.
It was unplayable. The thing is that if you were to say this is what you get from that, now I'm on board, because truthfully you're offering what the other two, Xbox and PlayStation are offering, and I'm on board. That's fine. But what happened with the Switch was they were like, hey, free online play, you do whatever you want, it's perfectly fine. Actually, we'd like $25 a year for it. It's not a lot of money. And you hear the Nintendo apologists going, well, it's just $25. It's a fraction of what Microsoft and Sony are charging you. Yeah, but their services are stable.
Yeah.
When I play with my friends on PlayStation, I don't get randomly disconnected because the service sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
And you can play games co-op.
Yeah, my internet connection is great. It works great for everything but Nintendo.
At the very least, you should be able to play a Nintendo game co-op if that's a feature of the console.
It's all built-in proprietary stuff, and it's terrible. Yeah.
One thing I will say is that they are releasing a free version of Chocobo's GP.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you'll only get like a
Instead
couple
of
characters.
Like you get to drive the ads?
Yeah. You drive ad blocker.
You drive an ad block.
Ad blocker request windows to tell you to turn your ad blocker off.
It's like, okay, here's your cart. It's literally a trailer for Final Fantasy 16.
So... in a way, that's a good thing because, A, everyone can play it. But in another way, remember how Dissidia NT went? It was free to play, too. You could either buy it or go free to play. And guess what? Every fucking month they came out with a character or a costume or something that costs like $29.99. And then also you had to play online missions to unlock fucking story missions.
Yep.
It was fucking horrible.
It was terrible.
But anyways,
it's just I hate blatant money grubbing, and that's what it feels like.
Which is unfortunate because, like I said, I was super looking forward to that game. Yep. Next up,
you're excited for this next one.
Yes, this next game has been in development hell since I want to say 2019 now.
Like a long time.
Yeah. Digimon Survive, man. We're kind of in the dark now, so it's a little Danger Dave right now because at least I think it was last year they released a trailer. This year,
like development notes and
stuff. It was like early last year they released a trailer, and now it's just silence on the other side of the fucking radio. So it's like, oh no, are they not doing anything with it?
Hello.
But this is a game I've been looking forward to for quite some time. And when you talk about DLC. Digimon, and talk about Pokemon alternatives. Digimon Cyber Sleuth, fucking go out and play that. Every single person should play that game. It's so good.
Yep.
They've got a shit ton of DLC that's all free. Once you beat the main game, you get access to all the DLC. It's basically just boss battles and stuff. But once you beat the bosses, you gain the ability to evolve into those Digimon. But anyways... this is going to be a tactical RPG set in the digital world with a good story and everything. It looks good. It looks really good. Everything I've seen from the game looks really good. But when your game was announced to come out in 2019 and it's gone dark so many times, and then they release a trailer every now and then, it's a little scary, I must say. I hope it comes out this year. But I don't have much faith that it will. It might be next year. Like, if we don't see anything at, like, Tokyo Game Show or something like that, I don't know if it's going to come out. And right now is the opportune time for them to come out with a big Digimon game because people want to play, people like us want to play a monster breeding game that is good, that has a good story, has a good monsters and great evolution mechanics and stuff like that.
We're in a big slump right now. It is literally the perfect time for this type of game to come out. So I mean I haven't seen a whole lot about it, but I mean truthfully that is exactly the type of game that I'm wanting to play right now. I'm choosing to believe the dark with the radio going dark, that maybe they're just working extra hard.
That's what I'm hoping too. Yeah, everybody I think is hoping that. They're like, okay, like, you know, when
games... Heads down, let's do this.
When games, like, reveal themselves too early and then go dark, and then all of a sudden they have out tomorrow. Because, like, the Nintendo Directs do that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then, so that's what I'm hoping happens. But I do think, like next time Digimon Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory... Because Hacker's Memory is, like, a sequel, but it happens at the same time as Cyber Sleuth.
Okay.
And they go on sale as a bundle on the Switch for like $30 or $39. Next time that comes on sale, you should grab that if you're looking for like a monster taming game, because it's so fucking good, but it is very long. Like it's like an 80-hour game.
Wow.
But yeah, that game, looking forward to that. Another one, Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. So Eiyuden Chronicle, basically, like most smart devs, these guys were the guys that made the Suikoden games, which are great JRPGs on the PS1 and PS2. I played the first two, absolutely loved them. They left Konami, and they've got Kickstarter backing. I believe it was Kickstarter. And they're making it's basically another Suikoden. It's a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series. But they're doing... One of the Kickstarter goals was to do like a bonus game while we wait for the full Eiyuden Chronicles. And so what they're doing is they're actually doing like a beat-em-up game starring some of the characters from Eiyuden Chronicles. But it's like one of those like RPG style beat-em-ups. Remember like Castle Crashers? How you had like stats and shit like that? So I'm really looking forward to this. I've seen gameplay. It looks fan-fucking-tastic. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And if this is as good as I'm hoping it's going to be, it's going to just make people want Eiyuden Chronicle that much more.
No kidding. Yeah, and I mean, and this is one that I haven't really been following all that much because I don't really have a background with Suikoden at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, I watched you stream that game, and I know how good of a game both of those games were.
Yeah, they're really good.
And so I mean, that really bodes well for this. So with it being a spiritual successor, is it its own story?
Yeah, it's its own. It's its own story.
So it wouldn't be so bad just to jump in on it, not having played the previous games then. So
just know that you're walking into a game where you can recruit up to like 108 like people.
Webbed.
Yeah. 108 people. You build like your castle as well as it's a straight up JRPG. Yeah. So it should be good. It should be good.
Totally. To throw something else on the list that's just kind of similar to it, there was also announced they're making a remake for Chrono Cross.
Oh yeah.
Which that's going to be really good too. That's coming out actually relatively soon.
I think so. I don't remember the release date.
Remember the date specifically.
This year, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, and they said that they remade the game. They also redid the music, which to me that's a massive selling point because the music in that game was so good.
I think it's the best soundtrack.
So good.
Video game soundtrack of all time.
Yeah, it's truly like an art masterpiece. Like that intro song, I can still hear it playing in my head regularly.
It's so fucking
because it's just so good. And I've spoken about this on stream quite a bit, but that's a game that I picked up a long time ago, like hot off the heels of Final Fantasy VII. I bought Chrono Cross, not knowing anything about Chrono Trigger, not knowing anything about Chrono Cross or anything along those lines, just knowing that it was like, I like RPGs now. I'm going to buy this. And I hated it. I was little. But the thing was that the stories and stuff, none of that really, like, I couldn't play the game the way that it needed to be played. Like, thinking about, like, when you talk to someone, there's consequences, and what you say to them in this way could make or break the situation, and I just played it with no real regard to any of that.
Right.
And I ended up getting kind of caught in a corner of the story where it was just I wasn't progressing anymore, and then I moved on. I quit.
Right.
And then you had grabbed me a copy, the actual PlayStation copy of it, and I was planning on playing that this year, but you had mentioned this probably best to put that one in the storage in the collection and then pick up the remake just so that because it's got the additional bonuses to kind of make it a little bit more palatable for gameplay.
Yeah, well, they're adding... there's actually a game that took place in between Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross called Radical Dreamers, and they've got the text version of that in the game. I played Radical Dreamers. I didn't like Radical Dreamers at all. It's basically like those old school
Like a text-based adventure.
Yeah, pretty much, but with JRPG battles tossed in there every here and there.
Okay.
It was really weird.
Interesting.
But the biggest thing to me, and this is why I haven't played Chrono Cross since Chrono Cross came out. Like, I haven't replayed it. I do have almost all the characters. Like, I've replayed it a couple times, but since the PS2 came out, I haven't touched it. And it's because of how slow the battles are. Like, the battle system is very tedious.
It's a bit clunky.
The way you have to set all your spells up and stuff is, like, very tedious. Like, you might like it because you like the materia system, right? You like that. You like spending the time for that customization.
Right.
I like customization, but I don't like to spend a bunch of time doing it kind of thing. Like, to me, was it Xenoblade 1 where you... It had probably just the right amount. Like, any more than that is, like, way too tedious for me. But, yeah, it looks like they've got, like, auto battle. They've got sped up battles if you don't want to do the auto battle. So that'll help a lot. I think you should definitely play that one as your first experience.
I'll probably end up picking that one up as the remake because I'll need a kind of all those bonuses. I can't even remember exactly why I walked away from it. I chalk it up. The same reason I walked away from Final Fantasy VIII when I was younger is just like I played Final Fantasy VII, and then from that point forward, I compared every other RPG to it.
Right.
Which it should have been the opposite. Final Fantasy VII was the one that was different than all the other ones, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And so that I think that kind of set me off as a, I would have been 14 when that game came out.
Right.
So I didn't really have a whole lot of patience for any of those kind of things. So now that I'm kind of coming back to it, and I've grown a new appreciation for the storylines and everything that are in the game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Final Fantasy VII, like I'm like not a big advocate of Final Fantasy VII, but Final Fantasy VII's battle system is fucking tight as fuck.
It's good.
It's one of the best battle systems I think in the series for sure.
It's definitely nice and clean. I don't like what they did with it with the remake, but
no, I don't at all.
We won't get into that.
But it's I like the original. Like it's not too slow, but it's not too fast. Yeah. You've got tons of options. It's really nice. And then
it's customizable too, which is really nice.
But then you going from that to Chrono Trigger, where it's like a % based, damage based, and you have to select like it's a weird battle system. It's very slow, and that's the worst part of the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So to me that was kind of the end up shift and why I walked away from it. So I mean I'm looking forward to the remake. I will pick that up. Even if it's just for the remixed music, and if they sell it with a soundtrack, I'll be picking that up.
Oh man, I would actually pick that up too. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Coming back to the list, the next one here was Final Fantasy 16, which I haven't heard a lot really about, other than when they announced it at last year.
I think it was like E3 or something last year.
At E3, yeah. I don't know why EGM was all that was stuck in my head. I was like, that's a magazine.
Yeah, it is.
So when they announced it at E3, has anything really come out that's
not
new
much since then? Here's the thing, okay? I love Final Fantasy. You love what you've played so far of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy has taken a massive turn from what it once was, and I feel like yes, people will argue every Final Fantasy is a bit different, and I mean up until even 2 was completely different than 1 was, I guess. But 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kind of 8, and 9 did follow a fairly structured, like similar structure to the way the game's played. So did 10, really. 11 and 12 obviously changed that big time. And then 13 completely changed that. And I feel like the series really hasn't been as good as it was since the PS1 and PS2 era. And
I agree.
It's like, I don't know, like there's changing, but there's also change for the sake of change. Like and you're not improving upon the system when you do that, I feel. And that's kind of the route that they're kind of stuck on right now. And that's my biggest worry with 16. I love 15. Don't get me wrong. I love Final Fantasy 15. But you've got a lot of Final Fantasy 14 dick riders saying that 16 is going to be so good because this guy's fucking producing it and he produced parts of 14, blah, blah, blah. And then they also were like, oh, this isn't going to be like Nomura where a game's announced and then 15 years later it comes out. Well, and they were like, I wouldn't be surprised if it came out this year. And it's like, okay, right. We haven't heard a fucking thing about it now. So where's that now? Where's that argument now? And they also got the Devil May Cry people working on the combat system. And same thing with your Pokemon Legends Arceus message. If I wanted to play a fucking Devil May Cry game, guess what? I'd be a Devil May Cry fan, not a Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I'm all for games branching out, but I really think that some of these games, especially the staple ones like Final Fantasy, you should stick to your lane. Yeah. Right? Do
unless it's a spin-off. Do weird shit in your spin-offs.
100%. Yeah, if you want, you can do that all day long. But if you're gonna do the flagship like Final Fantasy 16, my expectation is party-based.
I'm guessing
ATV
there's no party
is in there,
because you can't do Devil. How do you do Devil? All the combat, there was like combat in the trailer. One guy.
Yep.
It was just one
That's
guy.
Right. And I would expect that they'll take a page out of what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you have a party,
but they're just
control one person at a time.
Yeah, they're doing nothing.
Otherwise,
the whole time.
Otherwise they're being handled by the computer, which I don't like where we're headed with these RPGs, where they're action RPGs.
Yeah,
right?
No,
I don't want that. Give me the turn-based game.
If I wanted an action RPG, I'd be a fucking Kingdom Hearts fan.
but that's the thing, is that it's that,
or
the
play fucking Star Ocean. Like, there are good action RPGs too.
100%. There's nothing wrong with an action RPG, but I think when you've built your fan base off of turn-based JRPG, and all of a sudden you're like, well, we're gonna try something different this time, then don't call it Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Call it anything else.
Or call it Final Fantasy something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whatever, but it's not the main line. And really the issue is that I find too often it feels like they create a game and then they go, okay, now how do we make it a Final Fantasy game? Instead of creating a Final Fantasy game and then adding components to it. It starts out as something else.
Put this Final Fantasy sticker on it so it'll sell money. So we got to add...
And that's exactly what it is, right? And then you find that in Final Fantasy 16, it'll be like, and now buy the Cloud Strife DLC pack. You can have Cloud in your party.
Well, even
and that's where they're going with
even
this
13.
Stuff.
You could get Cloud's costume for Lightning in one of the Final Fantasy 13
just
games.
Reselling the same crap over and over and over again. And I mean, it's unfortunate, but a lot of fans haven't woken up yet.
No,
it's just like
a lot of them won't.
It's the same thing. You have to stop buying it if you want them to stop making it.
Yeah.
And as soon as Square Enix goes, okay, we hear you. Here you go, and they make Final Fantasy insert number here, and it's basically like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 10, like it's in that style.
Yeah.
They will make stupid amounts of money.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, all the roofs blow off, and off we go.
Yeah.
Nobody's buying Final Fantasy to play Devil May Cry.
Exactly.
That's just not happening. Because then what you'll hear is, man, this game's story was really good, but the combat was brutal.
Yeah.
All the computer does is blah 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 blah. It's the same problem that was there with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes.
Why does it have to be action based? Why do I have to hit those buttons? Why can't I just have the battle, choose what I'm going to do, and have it do it?
Like I don't need to run around up to that point has basically been like, yeah, I don't get it. You're kind of abandoning your fan base, but you're also kind of being an asshole because you know your fans are such big fans that they're going to buy it. Yep. Like, I love Final Fantasy, so I will probably buy Final Fantasy 16. Will it be at full price when it first comes out? Probably, I don't know.
And that's where I land. It's by no means a day one purchase for me. I've been burned so many times with Final Fantasy, I gave up on them by the time 13 rolled around.
Yeah.
Right? I was just it's not for me, right? And I'm like, look, if you're going to keep re-releasing this stuff like this, I'm out. Sorry, and that's what it is. And I truly believe that the fan base will dwindle over time, and it means the end of the story for Final Fantasy, which is unfortunate.
I don't think they'll ever want that. I don't think they will. Final Fantasy 13 is like one of the best selling fucking games in the franchise.
It's just so backwards.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if they're making these numbers up, right?
Yeah.
Either that or we're so far off base that...
But here's the thing. You had let's see, Final Fantasy 4, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, 10, 12. These were all knocking it out of the park. Everyone who played these games loves these games to some degree, right? So why, when Final Fantasy 13 is announced, you see the trailers, you don't know it's a shitty game. Why are you not going to pre-order that? You know what I mean? So I think that's why 13 has such good sales, right?
Yeah. Well, and there was a big gap between 12 and 13.
That's true, too.
Not only was there a big gap between 12 and 13, but 13 was also when they announced they were going multi-platform.
Right.
It wasn't a Sony exclusive anymore at that point.
Yeah, that's where you saw it on the 360, yep.
Right. And so I mean, that likely
helps
led
too,
to that as well.
You've got two consoles you're buying it on.
And now the new games are being launched on PC as well. So you're just kind of covering your bases.
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm
idea.
glad.
Yeah, there's no reason
100%.
not to
Release
do that.
it everywhere. Why make it exclusive? The biggest thing that I have, and I mean, and I hate to kind of circle back to that same point, but I'm not somebody who buys a game because it's got a name on it, because it's made by a company, because it's made by, in this case, it's a Square Enix game. It's going to be good. That's how it was in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's not like
if
that
you saw
anymore.
that Squaresoft logo, you knew you got at least a playable game, if not a great game.
You had a good game.
And now I look at that logo and I'm like, I don't think I want this game because it's going to have DLC. It's going to be clunky. It's going to have a billion ideas and go 6 different ways with the story. And by the time the story wraps up, you're left going like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And it's like, be ready for number 2 that's on the way in 3 years.
Yeah, when they started making sequels and stuff of everything. Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Like 13 13 Lightning Returns, shit like that.
But what do you do?
Next up, I'm not big into this game, but everyone that I've talked to who played that Horizon Zero Dawn absolutely fucking loved it. So
yeah, it was a sleeper game, that's for sure.
We've got the new one coming out soon. A lot of people looking forward to that. I know Bubs played the shit out of the first one, so
yeah, he really enjoyed it. It's one of those games that was a sleeper that people tried and went, wow, this is good. And it's an example of how a game that nobody knows what it is can absolutely steal the show.
Yeah.
If the developers give enough of a crap to focus on to make the game good, right?
I feel like here's the thing. I feel like with how many sequels and long running series we have, now when a developer, especially if it's a big name developer, if they're gonna do a new IP, they put a lot more care and attention into it because they know that this is either gonna be gonna do really well or it's gonna sink completely because it doesn't have a foundation of like previous games and stuff to build to hold it up, kind of thing, right?
Yep. But then you look at like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, who have had millions on millions on millions on millions of copies sold. They just kind of throw them out like, here you go, here's the new one. It's full of bugs and the story doesn't really make sense, but
buggy.
You'll buy it anyways.
Yeah.
Just get it. Just pre-order it. What do you get for pre-ordering it? Nothing.
Yeah.
You get.
I don't know why people pre-order.
You get to play it.
Nowadays.
Yeah, the pre-order doesn't make. But I mean, Horizon's one that kind of came out, took the show. It was a bit of a surprise. I'm looking forward to it. Not a day one purchase for me. I don't know. These are the types of games that I typically wait a few years for, and then get them when they go on sale
or free on PlayStation
and then play
or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's
awesome.
Truthfully, that's how I tend to play them because these are one and dones.
Yeah,
for me, right. Like I play them, and once you're done, you're kind of done. You never really go back to it again. A lot of people will replay them, but I'm not that kind of guy. So, it's on my list. It's on my watch list.
Yeah,
but
same.
it's definitely not at the top. That's for sure.
Another big one for Zelda fans would be Breath of the Wild 2. They've been kind of like hinting that they're doing it. I don't know if has there been any like trailers at all of it? Just mentions that it's happening.
There's been teaser trailers. Very little like actual stuff has come out yet. I mean, Breath of the Wild was a good game. When you have Monolith build your world, I'm in, dude. 100%. Like there's no way you can mess up world building when you bring that team in. From a gameplay perspective, it was fun. Didn't really like the ending all that much, but maybe they'll expand on that with Breath of the Wild 2 a little bit. The crafting was easy to do and not cumbersome.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, it's on my kind of watch list. Probably not going to buy it day one. But
there's a lot to say about a good crafting system.
Yeah, it'll make or break your game. Yep. If it's cumbersome, I don't even want to do it anymore.
Same, yeah.
And if you make it mandatory for the game,
when they
that's
feel
almost something to kill the game off.
It's fucking great. Like,
Dragon
Quest XI's crafting system. It's like you play like a little mini game. You've got like you heat the weapon up in the forge, and then you got like an anvil, and you're like hammering.
Oh, I remember you doing that.
Yeah, it's such a fun like little mini game. Star Trek Online got a new crafting system, and it's just like it's super simple, but it's like very very satisfying. Like it makes like this noise, and you're like like it's just like
there it
is.
You
can make your crafting system simple and rewarding, and they really pay off. You don't need collect 700 penis berries from this specific forest, and then mix them with these rocks from the mountain on the other side of the map. And you don't need to have a collectathons to craft. You just need a couple items, merge them together, and
that's right.
Straightforward. Make it good.
Yep, definitely. So I'm probably decent. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. Anytime that they don't release actual gameplay footage and stuff,
then it's
the best I can say is that we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, because you can't judge just on cutscenes for
no
sure.
idea, and then watch it like now with new feature, more complex crafting. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. God damn it.
How about Sea of Stars is on this list? I don't know anything about this game.
Okay,
so literally nothing.
So Sea of Stars is made by the same guys that made The Messenger, which is probably the best modern action platformer I've played. Like it's up there with Celeste as like the best retro platformers. It is so good. One of the best games I've played, if not the best game I've played that wasn't an JRPG in the past like 5 or 10 years. And they decided to make a JRPG. So this is like an indie style development team. Our buddy Kame is actually one of the quality testers for this game, and it just looks fucking good. I think it was him. He streamed because they had access as a tester. They had access to the demo or whatever, and they were allowed to stream it and stuff. And it just looks so good. Like if you look at any trailers of Sea of Stars, there's a newer trailer that shows.
I'll have to check it out.
Shows what the characters can do and stuff like that. Looks fucking incredible, and just their track record from the Messenger, like absolutely, that was an incredible game. It's not that often, in fact, almost never, where you get a game that has super tight gameplay, and is the difficulty's absolutely perfect, great world building, awesome fucking story, and then also like the most fucking hilarious game. Also, like somehow, how the fuck do you pull all that off? But the Messenger
good.
does.
Yeah. Nice.
So really looking forward to that one. I guess another one we should mention while we're on the topic of like indie developed JRPGs.
Pixel Noir.
Pixel Noir. Yeah.
I was thinking the exact same thing because so Lenstu is part of the community and visits both of our channels.
Yeah.
And he's one of the developers on the team there. And like, holy crap! I gotta tell you, because we were watching, blank on the fellow's name. I think he goes by Leo Likos or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
He was working on the game.
Yeah, and he was literally working on the game, streaming it on Twitch, and just running down the bugs list. And it was so fascinating to see
how
like,
they
the other
make
side.
Them. Yeah,
yeah,
no idea.
And how they got. No clue. He's like, this is the Unity engine, and this is this, and when we go through here, we do this, and this is how we make our notes, and here's how we fix it. We program it in here, and just like showing the whole process. And I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah,
but
that was cool.
Pixel Noir is like a cyberpunky noir telling of cyberpunk type of world. And it's a JRPG, and there's just so many different elements to it that I just think are so cool. And you can just tell the devs have just a love for RPGs, because they're like, I'm putting this in because I saw it in this game and I really loved this aspect of it, so we wanted to put it in here, and here's how we're kind of paying homage to that. And I mean, it's just really, really cool.
Looks.
I mean,
everything I've seen from it looks really good.
Very, very good. Yeah.
They do have a what is it? What do they call it? Early access or whatever.
Early access is on Steam.
I've been told by the developers not to play that version because it's like really old.
It's a very early access.
So wait for it to come out. They are anticipating. I think they said like November or something. They're hoping it comes out. So. Look forward
add
to
it
that.
to your wish list.
Add that to your wish list. Put it on your Steam wish list. Looks good. I'm a huge Shadowrun guy, despite not playing the new ones yet. But I played the shit out of Shadowrun on the Genesis, and it looks like that, but with turn-based combat, and that's the only way you can make Shadowrun better than it already was.
Yeah, it looks great. So
back to Final Fantasy. We've got an actual spin-off here. Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Now, a lot of people are not looking forward to this. I kind of am.
This blows my mind. Like, I can't even. Because you'll have people shitting their pants over Final Fantasy 16 when they know nothing about it.
Yeah.
And the one thing they do know is that it's probably going to have a janky combat system, and that the story is, who knows.
The story looks good in 16. Like,
the story looks good, but who knows, because there's really not much out there.
Yeah,
and so there's always that kind of shroud.
Yes.
You know what you're getting yourself into when you're talking about the origin of Final Fantasy. You see freaking Garland and how badass he looks in the game.
Fucking cracking.
Yeah, they're a little... Right,
Tiamat,
all of these things.
Oh, I think here's the thing. Here's what I think the thing is. The people that aren't looking forward to it don't love Final Fantasy 1 as much as me and you do.
Right.
And I think that's what it is. Like, I fucking love Final Fantasy 1. Like, I would put Final Fantasy 1 above, like, not quite a few, but, like, a decent amount of the other Final Fantasy games. It's
totally the story phenomenal. The game was really, really good. I think if that game was re-released, which I'm kind of thinking that's what this is to a degree, just from a different angle, it would do really well. The thing is that when you release a game like this, they are under no obligation to hold tight to anything else.
Yes.
This is a spin-off. It's something different. You do whatever you want. You want to do crazy combat, and you want to throw Devil May Cry stuff in here, and you want to do all that stuff.
Yeah,
these are the types of games you do those too. Right? I'm not saying that I want them to do that for this one particular, but this is what you do. So to me, this is reversed, right? Final Fantasy 16 should be this type of a game, and this game should be like it feels like they're just kind of got released in the wrong order.
Yeah,
almost. With it being a remake and the storyline and stuff like that, that's fine, right? But
it's almost like
the other
thing is that they're not lying to us like they did with Final Fantasy 7 remake. This is like a fucking imagining straight out of
a retelling
straight there. Yeah, it's like a it's like a spin-off of Final Fantasy 1, really. It's basically nobody knows for sure, but my theory is that you're playing as you're obviously playing as the Warriors of Light from Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, the first set.
Yeah, but my theory is that because the main character's name is Jack, I think it's Jack Garland, and my theory is that this is Garland, because remember, Garland wasn't a bad guy before Final Fantasy 1. He was one of the best knights of, what is it, Cornelia or whatever. So in the time, remember he creates that time loop? So this is Jack pissed off because he's been in the time loop for fucking however many years, right? And he needs to kill Garland to put an end to it. So it kind of adds almost more lore to Final Fantasy 1, because your character could have been Garland, right? For all you knew.
For sure.
You could have been a product of the time loop. And I don't know, the combat looks fun because they got Team Ninja developing it. Like they made the Neo games. They were a blast to play. And I think it'll be good. If you're gonna do combat like this in a Final Fantasy game, you make it a fucking spin-off just like this.
That's just it. This one I feel they did right. Like, I mean, go for it. And truthfully, then to me, my expectations change when it's not a numbered Final Fantasy.
Same.
Right? Because now I'm like, look, if it's good, it's good. If it sucks, man, well, it was a spin-off anyways.
Yeah,
whatever.
They're trying new shit.
Right?
That's when you do that.
They took a chance, and I'm glad they did that. I'm happy to support that.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah.
The other thing is, I think that a lot of the people that don't want it or not looking forward to it are so caught up in the chaos. I need to kill chaos. This is
they were not.
But I think I honestly feel that they released that initial trailer because they wanted people to make memes and basically free advertise the game.
Start talking about it.
Yep. I feel like
absolutely
that's why they released that trailer.
To be fair, it worked, right? Because it was literally
talking about
everywhere.
It was hilarious.
It was everywhere. Yeah. 100%. I agree. I think that was personally, I believe, is a marketing ploy, because then they released the second one.
Yeah, it shows some great gameplay.
So good.
You see the fucking remember the pirates in the second town you go to? Oh my god. I'm so excited for this. Even though I'm probably going to get fucking be shitty at it and frustrated with it.
Of course.
I think it's going to be fucking great.
I think this one will be good. Yeah. I agree.
The world of Final Fantasy World of Final Fantasy 1 in today's graphics, like, come the fuck on.
It's a game. It's no brainer. That's a good one.
What do we got next? We got Star Ocean: The Divine Force. Now, here's the thing. I played.
Here we go.
I played Star Ocean 1 and I absolutely loved it.
Yep.
Star Ocean 2 is apparently even better. I played a little bit of Star Ocean 2. I did like what I played, but I didn't have time to play through it all. We will be streaming that at some point, possibly this year on the channel. Because it is a PS1 JRPG. Star Ocean 3 I never played. I heard good things about it. Star Ocean 4 I played and finished, and everybody hates that game. And I liked the story, but what Tri-Ace does with its character models is super fucking weird. Like, their character models look like those creepy living dolls. Like, that's what...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's fucking gross. And I think that turns a lot of people away, and I didn't like that. But and they also are very like that anime cringe. Like, they always have at least one fucking anime cringe character in there that's
really cringy.
Yeah, that's like too much. But all in all, the game was good enough to finish. There was a huge twist at the end that made it pretty fucking cool. And then the fifth one is like panned by almost everyone. I need to play it though. It looks not that bad, but anyways, a new Star Ocean, and basically what they're doing is that it's inspired by Xenoblade Chronicles, where you have this massive open world to explore and stuff like that, but they added like jetpacks and shit, so your characters can like fly around and like get to places quicker and stuff like that. They haven't shown much. What I saw with the world and stuff looked super interesting. I'm excited in that. But they still have the fucking living doll fucking character models. It's fucking gross, man. They look so bad. I hate that art style. It's like, remember like Budokai 1 on the PS2?
Yep.
It's kind of like, it's like that, but with like
that chibi looking.
No, it's not even. It's, I guess, kind of chibi, because their heads like maybe just this like big.
Yeah, big head,
everything
little
else
body,
is normal
and they're
sized.
Just,
But it's like, it's fucking weird, man. It's like their eyes are like this big and shit.
Yeah.
I don't like that art style at all, but I hope the game is good. I'm definitely keeping an eye on it to see what it ends up being like. I can see it being a pretty fun open world action RPG game.
Yeah. These are usually games I watch you play.
Yeah.
They're not super up my alley. I'm sure they're great, but a lot of them have really complicated. A lot of these JRPGs are good, but there's always like an asterisk, like it's really good
but
after you do this. It's really good, but there's also these things. And for me, a lot of the times that's enough to just turn me away from the game. Like I'm not super in on it, but I'm more than happy to watch you play it.
I'm just interested.
I think I watched you play Star Ocean 3, maybe 4. I can't
probably
remember
4.
Which one
I don't know if I streamed 4 though. That was a long time ago. That was a PS3 game. That one.
You were playing one of them. I'm pretty sure
I streamed 1, the first one, but it was
maybe
like
that's what
it was like the the PS4 remake of it or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's really good.
And it was good. I mean, there's not saying it's wrong. It's just typically not my style of game.
Yeah, I'm not a big action RPG guy, but this one was pretty good.
They were.
Next up,
speaking of games that not really my style, but looks phenomenal. Triangle Strategy. Now this is from the same team that did Octopath Traveler, right? And I got to tell you, I love that art style. That kind of pixel graphics on a 3D, 2D kind of thing. I got to tell you, I really like the way that it looks.
Yeah, same.
Not a big strategy RPG guy. I'm dumb when it comes to that kind of thing, and I get frustrated really easily. Where I think Advance Wars kind of ekes out a kind of a win here is that it's a lot more simplistic. Yeah, and it's kind of easier to put your moves together. Where like I went back and I tried to play like Final Fantasy Tactics and stuff like that, and I just don't get it.
It's definitely
right?
a lot tougher. Yeah,
there's a lot going on, and I always miss something, and then the next thing you know, I lose because I forgot to put some guy somewhere and do something.
Terrifying as fuck in those games, and a lot of them have that.
Yeah, and so I mean, this one looks really good, and it's not a no for me. It's just I probably won't like it, so I'll need to really see how it plays.
Yeah, there's always those games that like is a good game, but it's not a game for you.
Not my style.
Yeah, there's a lot of games like that. For me, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I'm the same as you. I'm not a big tactical RPG guy. But
you're more on the line. You're further down the line than me. That's all.
Yeah. Like I loved Final Fantasy Tactics. It's probably I think in my top 10 Final Fantasy video is like my third favorite Final Fantasy game.
Yep.
And I loved Tactics Ogre: The Night of Lotus on the GBA. I need to play the other Tactics Ogre games, but I loved those games. They had great stories to tell, and that I think is what's important. The gameplay, the job class system. All you need for me to fucking probably play your game is a good story and a job class system, and I'm gonna find a way to like it.
Right.
Even if I'm pretty bad at the whole tactical gameplay. So I don't know if Project Triangle Strategy has a job class system. I haven't paid too much attention to it. As far as the HD 2D stuff, I do and I don't like the look of it. I feel like it kind of like fisheyes the I don't know what the presentation, I guess, because you've got your focal point right on your character when they're walking around, but everything kind of out here is like blurry. I don't like that. Yeah. They did the one thing that's not on the list is Live Alive. They just announced they're doing a HD 2D remake.
That's a remake
of
one,
that.
Right? Yeah.
And that was a game that was never released here, so I'm super looking forward to that. I've heard nothing but good things. I am definitely getting that on day one. But on that one, all they did was add depth. They didn't put like that weird fisheye bullshit in it. It's not that misty. Like to me, when I look at Octopath, I can't see anything fucking clearly except where the character is standing, and I don't like that.
I want to say you could shut that off. I'd have to go back into the game and check it out. Great. But I think you can shut that off. And I want to say I did. I don't know. I might be imagining this story, but I want to say you could shut that off. And I usually do. When I boot into a game, the first things I do is film effect off, field of vision blur, distortion off, and motion blur off. Like it's like immediately
motion blur
in every
sucks,
game.
Man.
I hate it. I don't know. I film grain and motion blur are like, and I get like they make the game look a little bit better. That's fine, but it's not for me.
No,
that's for sure.
Like
I shut that off.
The only time you should ever have motion blur is if you get like flash banged in a game. That's the only time, in my opinion.
So I mean, I tend to shut those off, and I want to say that's an option that you can remove there too.
Okay.
And if it's not an option, they should put that in there. There's no benefit to doing that.
Yeah,
right?
It looks
like, it's
really
not
weird.
Like
it looks like there's like fog everywhere, right? Or something.
Yeah. So,
but
Live Alive is one that I had never heard about until they announced that.
Yeah.
And just watching watching the little bit of a trailer they showed, it looked really good. I am beyond stoked that the Switch has become the de facto RPG machine. Yep. Right, like it's so awesome. I could not be more impressed with the Switch than I am right now, right?
Same.
Like it has had some absolute bangers to the point where I don't even boot up my PS4 or my Xbox anymore. Like I just play the Switch on my PC and that's it. Everything else doesn't really matter. The games are releasing so good.
Yeah.
And now they're going to port in games from that have never been released in North America that
are cleaned
I'm
up
assuming this
much
did
better.
really well, right?
Yeah.
And it's an official
man.
translation and stuff.
Yes,
Like
it looks
like
so
to
good.
me that's a
do you
that's
know
a
do you know
no-brainer.
what Live Alive is? Like
No, not at all. I don't know anything about it.
So what it is it's I can't remember how many lives you live, but there's throughout time. So you've got like the caveman era, so you live out as like a prehistoric life, and they're all JRPG with little differences. Like there's one part that's like kind of like a fighting game. One of the lives you live out is like you're a pro wrestler, so you have to like train, and then you have like fighting game kind of mechanics for your battle there. One of them is a western, so you're like a cowboy and stuff like that. One of them's like in the future, it's like robots and shit. And then at the end, apparently they all come together and do like the main story. So it's kind of like what Octopath tried to do, but wasn't as good at. But it's, I don't know, it's something that I've always wanted to play. Everything I've heard and seen about it, like I've seen so many reviews of this game, and it's just something I've always wanted to play, and I'm so glad they're doing this. One of the Facebook groups I'm in, they took a bunch of stills from the new trailer and put them side by side from stills from the Super NES game, and it's just fucking beautiful. It's the perfect way to do a remake because you've got everything that is in the Super NES one is in the 2D HD one, but it's just everything's crisp. They've
just spent more time cleaning it up a bit.
But then you've also got like that depth to it, right? Because it's that HD 2D. It doesn't have that foggy weird shit. It just looks really, really good. I'm really looking forward to that one.
100%. And I mean, and if it's a solid JRPG, I'll probably end up picking it up too.
That's a day oneer for me. That one.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Which is
it's funny because if before that Nintendo Direct, I would have told you there's only one game that I would be willing to buy day one as it is, and then they were like, "Here's a day one. Here's a day one. Here's a day one.
True.
Here's a day one."
That's true.
Right? Like it's ridiculous.
Speaking of the HD 2D stuff, Dragon Quest 3, there's still a possibility that the remake there is going to be coming out this year. Now, I did see some of the gameplay, and remember that weird foggy shit in the corners? It does look like it suffers from that, so I hope it doesn't. Or there's an option to turn that off.
And if it does, you can shut it off.
But the combat looks fucking so good. Like, honestly, the combat looks so good. The overworld looks really good. I'm really looking forward to that one. But most importantly, what I would honestly prefer over that is for them to bring Dragon Quest 4 to 6 on the Switch, because they already got 11. They've got 1, 2, and 3. I really want them to bring Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 to the Switch.
Well, and Dragon Quest 3. So right now I'm running through Final Fantasy 4. Dragon Quest 3 is next on my dock for RPG. And so maybe the stars will align and that will drop.
That would be good, but I don't see it happening.
Probably not. But yeah, that one I am looking forward to playing Dragon Quest 3.
Yeah, Dragon Quest 3 is also one of those games that I've like played through so many times that it's like I'm excited for it, but it's like I played this game like probably 14 times.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as long as it doesn't suffer from the same kind of game killer that Dragon Quest 2 did, then, we're good.
No. There's a lot of Dragon Quest fans to this day consider 3 to be the best. So
nice. Yeah.
That's
good.
The ones that are considered to be the best are usually 3, 4, 5, 8, and 11. So
wow. Quite the list.
And then we've got, so we mentioned a beat 'em up earlier with Eiyuden Chronicle Rising. I really hope that this is going to be like a new golden age of the beat 'em ups, because we had Streets of Rage 4, I think it was last year or the year before. It was fucking incredible. Best beat 'em up game I think I've ever played.
Yep.
And then they've got this TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Now, the only downside to this is it has been announced. It's kind of got that Digimon Survive thing going on where it's been announced a little while ago. And you haven't heard anything.
Speaking of games that have been announced and never coming out.
Yeah, so I hope that comes out this year. I really do, because I really want to play that one. It looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah. It looked really good. It looked like a HD version of the Hyperstone Heist type of
era.
Gameplay.
Yeah. But
right?
even better. It looks better. It looks like it
looks so good. Yeah. So I mean I've got high hopes for it. That's one I'll pick up when it does come out.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're absolutely right when they do in these beat 'em up games. Streets of Rage 4. But I mean even a few years back they did Double Dragon Neon, which was that was really
a fun
good
one too. Yeah.
Right?
True.
Like I mean honestly, we're in such a drought for good games.
Good
they
games
really
and good
need to do.
Like there's none.
All they really need to do, give me online co-op without problems.
Yeah.
Right? And care about your game.
Yeah.
That's it. Those are the only real things that I need in a game like that.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing
it's simple.
Because like Video Game Donkey, he always does like his end of the year awards, and it's never games that came out that year. But this past year's Streets of Rage 4 was like up there as one of his top ones. And it's kind of like how we do our end of the year, where it's like it's the games we played this year, not the games that came out this year.
Yeah.
But anyways, he phrased it perfectly. He's like, in an era with like no beat 'em up games, they released a beat 'em up game as if there was like so much competition, so they had to release the best one. Like, that's right. And that's like what they did. It was like so fucking good.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean that's exactly it. It's beat 'em ups are so much fun.
Absolutely.
Because they carry that couch co-op with them. If you take the couch co-op away, which most games do now, because rarely are you ever in the same room playing games with each other.
They want you to buy 2 copies of the game, let's be real.
100%. But if you're going to do that, and I'm okay with that, but if you're going to do that, you have got to make the online seamless.
Yeah.
You've got to make it so that I can't tell the difference if you and I are in different countries or beside each other on the couch.
Yeah.
Right? It has to play that way. If you don't put that in there, this whole thing is over.
Yeah. I think that's why the beat 'em up kind of disappeared. Like Castle
100%,
Crashers
but
and
look what they did
Double
with
Dragon Neon were kind of like the last of the last era, and that was like PS3, right?
Yeah. And it's been a long time. Like years. Yeah. Years on years on years.
But then you've got
it was refreshing to see.
There's definitely like those shitty beat 'em ups too, though, where you're like on a single plane
there's a lot
and
of
you
those.
just punch guys until they die, and then you walk forward and punch guys. Like that,
right?
You've got to you got to put effort into it.
You have to care about your game.
Yeah.
Solid online, care about your game.
So one thing I will say
you'll knock it out of the park.
About Streets of Rage 4 is I got it on the Switch, unfortunately. I'm totally down to rebuy it on the PS4 because it's really good. But I played it through it co-op, I think 4 times the whole game. Me and Grenick did it, I think, on stream. And then me and my buddy Kristen did it off stream. And there were some fucking janky shit, but I think it's just because Nintendo's online is so garbage. But we still made it work. I mean, we beat the final boss and stuff, so...
That's good. Yeah, it's just the Switch is not your unit for online play.
Yeah.
Hello, Crystal Chronicles. I'm looking at you.
Yeah, what the fuck did they do to that game?
I just no, nope. That's for a different podcast. But no. Shredder's Revenge. Looking forward to it.
Now this next one comes out in March, and this is honestly, like, some of you might be surprised, but
I'm genuinely surprised.
This is like one of the most looked forward to games for me, and that is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's supposed to be like a more open-worldy Kirby game. It kind of looks like Kirby lives in like post-apocalyptic Earth. Like,
it really looks that way. Yeah.
Oh man, and it's kind of cool because Kirby does travel through space. So maybe he came across Earth, and this is what it is now, right? Like,
yeah, Kirby's like, where's blowed up? Well, better eat a car, I guess.
Yeah, it looks so good. It
does look really good.
I love Kirby games so much. My biggest thing, though, that I'm scared of is I am awful at 3D platformers. And Kirby has never really been 3D. Like, people will say Crystal Shards on the Nintendo 64 was 3D. No, it wasn't. It was as 3D as like a 2D platformer on the PS2 is. Like, you know when they're like the models are 3D, but you're just walking straight to the right. That's how Kirby the Crystal Shards was. It wasn't like true 3D. Okay. This one is. I think the saving grace for me will be Kirby can fly, kind of, right? So if I fuck up a jump, I can usually correct. And that's why, like, the only 3D platformers I can play is, like, Spyro the Dragon, because he can glide to correct my shitty jumps.
Well, and I mean, and it really reminds me of Mario Odyssey, which I gotta say, Odyssey was a really good game. It was very short.
Oh, really?
But it was like less than 20 hours, which is awful for a Mario game. Like it was maybe a few sittings and it was over. But I mean, while I was playing it, it was fun, right? The thing that Nintendo has right with their 3D platformers, especially with what they did with Mario Odyssey, is the camera control is so fluid that you really don't even notice. And they set the stages up so that there's really not a whole lot of problems. I don't anticipate that you'll really have a lot of issues with it. I do see you struggling a little bit just because of that kind of jumping into that 3D platforming, but it's come a long way from the 64 and GameCube days.
Right.
The cameras aren't so, because remember they'd be so like
jumpy.
And the joysticks are primitive then too. So when you move that over, there's a little bit of a delay. Yeah, and so now with the way that things work is it's a lot more fluid. You have the ability to move things around the way that you need to.
Yeah, that should help, definitely.
From what I saw in the trailer, the game looks really good. For me, the concern with Kirby is they tend to do... Like, they were like, now he's a vending machine Kirby.
Yeah.
Now he's a car Kirby. Now he's a... And if they focus too much on that kind of stuff, like, put it in there, have it a component of the level, but if you force me to walk through the entire stage as a vending machine, probably not.
I'm going to do a vending machine only run just because of that. I don't know. I love Kirby so much. The gimmicks in Kirby are, like, always good. Like, they're always done well.
Yeah.
So, like... Epic Yarn was done so well.
Well, and I was gonna say, because they released another Kirby game on Switch. Did you play that one?
I think that was like it was like a weird beat 'em up game or something. I had it, but it was kind of weird.
I thought they released another like
straight up
actual Kirby game.
I don't think so. There was one on the Wii, I think, and I never did play that one, and I wish I did. It was either the Wii or the Wii U. Maybe it was Switch. But I do want to play that one. But that one's like a 2D one or whatever. But this one, it looks like they dumped a lot of money into it. They got a lot of, like...
It looks good.
It looks like a quality... It looks like a fucking AAA Kirby game, which I never thought I would fucking see. Because they generally aren't. I mean, the series started on the fucking Game Boy, right?
Yeah,
and then
that's right.
Was on Nintendo, like the NES... And then the Super NES had some really good ones, and then they went back to handheld for like almost ever, right? So I'm super excited for it. I hope it's really good. Yeah. I think it will be really good. It's fucking Kirby.
It looks good. That's a no. If that's your style of game, if you like platformers, if you like Kirby, if you like honestly just kind of fun games, and they're lighthearted. Yeah. On it, I think it's right up your alley.
Yeah, I think I'm really gonna like it. My problem is, like I said, I have zero depth perception in 3D games, so it's like really hard for me to do that. But Kirby can fly, so we'll be all right.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
The last one I have written down, but not the last one we'll talk about, is Sonic Frontiers, and God, I hope this game's good. Sonic is so fucking...
Poor Sonic.
Oh,
Poor Sonic.
Either get,
he's had
like,
such
the best game ever or the worst game ever. And honestly, I liked Sonic Forces, but there's a lot of stuff they could have done to make that a better game. Yeah. And honestly, the last Sonic game that's 3D that I would put among the 2D greats, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic 2, Sonic Mania, is the first 3D Sonic game, Sonic Adventure. It's still the best one, I think, as far as 3D Sonic games go.
For sure.
They did say that they're going more towards that, because Sonic Adventure had like an open world. That's kind of what Frontiers looks like it's trying to do. just let me run around really fast in a fucking open world. That's all I want to do.
Is that so much to ask?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, poor Sonic. He's had such a rough go after Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Everything just kind of exploded. Then you had Adventure, and then you had Adventure 2, and then all of those other games. There was the Sonic the Hedgehog one that was on the Xbox 360
and PS3.
That was the 3D one.
Yeah, that was really and bad. Then it didn't even run really.
And there's Shadow came out.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
What was the one
I
with
have the most polarizing opinion on Shadow the Hedgehog.
Is that the one with that he had a gun?
That's Shadow, yeah, he's got a gun.
Oh,
I like it. It's better than Sonic Adventure 2. Fight me.
I believe. You know what? And it's funny because I didn't play any of these 3D Sonic games. They don't appeal to me in the slightest. None of them. I played Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and then I haven't played a Sonic game since. That's my repertoire. And it, in my defense, I am really bad at Sonic games because while you can't play 3D platformers because of depth perception, I can't play fast games because I just can't keep up with stuff.
Yeah.
And so when he's zipping through, I miss jumps all the time. We did that for the charity. We did Sonic 2 for the charity stream. You put that Proto-Buster on your arm
with an upside down
and
controller.
You still beat me.
That was still
you still beat me. And it's just because I've never been good at Sonic, right? That's just one of those games I've never ever been good at. I can play it. I could probably bounce my way through it with a good amount of continues and lives, but they've never really appealed to me, and it's mostly I attribute almost all of that to I never owned a Genesis as a kid. I never owned Sega systems at all. We had Nintendo, we had Sony, and that was it. Zero until the Xbox came out, right? But by that point, the Dreamcast was dead, right?
Yeah.
It was just there's no going back. And so now I've gone back and I've played a lot of these games, and I have a Genesis now, and I've played. I'm working on trying to get my hands on a Saturn, but it's like that nostalgia factor. I think feeds a lot of the Sonic fans.
Maybe
things.
Sonic 1 is awful. I will say that
100%. And the beauty, the one thing I've noticed with Sonic fans, they do not accept bad Sonic games.
Yeah.
At least we got a Sonic game.
Yeah, that is one good thing that other series could use.
You hear the Final Fantasy crew, and they're like, "Yeah, this is gonna be great." No, it's garbage. No, it's great. I love running through a hallway for an entire game.
Yeah.
That's the best part ever.
Sonic fans rip their fucking games
Sonic fans are like, "This is awful. Come on, Team Sonic, you guys are the worst. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you ruining our beloved childhood for?"
Yeah.
And like I said, I think to a degree there's some sentimental value with Sonic. I grew up with Sonic. I really enjoy this game, and now I can look at that character and see what you've done to him in this game, and I'm mad about it. But then Team Sonic will be the best part about Team Sonic is they're like, "Okay, we hear you. How about this?"
Yeah,
and they'll give you something else.
Fix and
they're just trying to do better.
Yeah.
And so they sometimes they'll knock it out of the park, and other times it's a fail. But I will hand it to them. They're always trying something different.
And they're always trying to listen
all
to
of
their
those
fans.
games. Yeah, all of those games, not one of them is the exact same as the previous one. They're trying to improve.
Absolutely, that's
and
true.
So anytime they release a new Sonic game, I tend to kind of watch from a distance because they don't appeal to me. So I will likely watch you play this one. But yeah, it's poor Sonic's been through the ringer from the get-go to now. It's bad times.
I really hope it's good. One, you should play Sonic Mania, first of all.
I have it.
Oh, do
I
you?
own it.
Okay, yeah, it's really good. For the sole fact, because a lot of because Sonic Mania was made by, Christian Whitehead, who is a Sonic fan.
Okay.
And he throws so many like Easter eggs towards other Sega games and franchises, and one of the boss fights is, I don't know, do you remember the little purple caterpillar with the spikes on it in Sonic 1, I think? Anyways,
maybe
one of the boss fights is a giant version of that, and it looks like the dragon boss in Space Harrier, and you get to fight that, and I think you'll just love that.
I remember you saying that.
Another thing is, if you're gonna play the Sonic games, wait, because they are coming out with game called Sonic Origin or Sonic Origins.
Okay.
And they're taking all the classic Sonic games and they're putting them widescreen. And you have no idea how much widescreen helps in a Sonic game because
I would imagine that's a big deal.
Way earlier.
Yeah.
So
so
I think that'll help
Humble
you.
Bundle did a anniversary bundle for Sonic for their 30th anniversary.
Okay.
Do you want to hear what game? So I picked all of this up for a whopping $12.
Okay.
Okay. So I got Sonic Adventure DX.
Okay, yeah.
Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Adventure Battle, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 1 and Episode 2, Sonic and All-Star Racing Transformed Collection, Sonic Generations Collection, Sonic Lost World, Sonic Mania Encore DLC, Sonic Mania, Team Sonic Racing, and Sonic Forces.
Oh, nice.
For $12.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And so I picked it up because I knew I wanted Sonic Mania.
Yeah, Sonic Mania is really good. It's probably the best one.
And I figured for $12 it's there, and I got both Sonic Adventure games.
Yeah, Sonic Adventure 1 I think you would like. You do have to adjust to the Dreamcast jank, like that weird...
Right.
Yeah, Dreamcast games have
a little jittery.
Have a jank to them. But it's really good. That one's really good.
For sure.
And then the last game we had to talk about, we didn't even know really it was going to happen until this direct. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Holy fuck. What did it say? They've combined the worlds of 1 and 2, basically?
Something like that. Yeah, I'm hoping... Yeah, I love those games.
Yeah,
Xenoblade
so
Chronicles 2, after I played it, I sent you a message and I was like, well, I think this is my new favorite JRPG of all time. Like, out of nowhere, I picked the game up on a whim. I didn't know anything about it. I was on a work conference in a city, and I walked into a GameStop because I had just got my Switch, and I finished Mario Odyssey on the trip there, thinking that it was going to be a longer game.
Oh, that was like your plan was to play that while you were there.
Yeah, and I was like, you have got to be kidding. So they had a GameStop, so I walked into the GameStop, and I'm looking through the racks, and I'm like looking through, trying to figure it out, and I looked at Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I'd never heard of. Look at the cover, look at the back, like old school style of picking out a game. So I pull up my phone, I search for what type of, because I never heard of it before, what type of game it is. It's a JRPG. I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. That game, like, hooked its claws into me so hard that I didn't put it down until it was done. I've never in my life binge played a game. Ever. Literally, I cannot think of one time I've ever played a game from start to end within a period of like 7 days.
Yeah.
It was like such a small... And it was like 90 hours I put into this damn thing. It's ridiculous. Anyway, fast forward. But then we played Xenoblade Chronicles 1, right? Yeah. Because they released it as a remaster, and you had played
I played 1 before I played 2.
Played it before you played 2. And so you get that moment at the end. Spoiler alert, if you haven't heard the endings of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, this is your chance to fast forward like 2 minutes into the future. At the end of the 2 games, there's a line that's spoken, and you hear it on both sides. So at the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you hear what they say in Xenoblade Chronicles 1. And in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, all of this stuff happens, and then all of a sudden, now we're in a different world, it almost seems. I feel that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is going to be the outside of it. No, so they talk about these worlds being virtual worlds.
Right. Right, I forgot about that part.
And that all of this is kind of like a computer program.
But now
you're
in the real world.
I think this is taking place outside of all of that, and it's going to tie that all in together, because the reason why you hear that all together is because you've got an inside world and an outside world. I'm geeking out about this stuff, but long story short, I think this is going to be the one that ties the bow onto it. I don't think this will be the end of the series, though.
I don't think so either.
Because they've got so much to go from here. I heard the voice of the guy who voices the one guy.
The main character?
What the hell was his name? No, he voices the Australian guy who stabs himself in the legs with the hooks. His name's escaping me.
Oh, like the big dude?
Yeah,
I don't know his name.
His voiceover is in the trailer. That voice actor. He's one of the voices for the main characters, I think. That game looks so good. And we just started this podcast off as saying, like, we talked on this podcast before about never buying games day one. It's a bad idea to buy games day one. And frickin' Nintendo released this thing. I think I walked away with 3 games.
Yeah,
like,
same. It was about 3 games. Yeah, where it's like, fuck me, dude. It's
ridiculous. And kudos to Nintendo, right? Because holy crap, that is what Nintendo has set the bar for these types of announcements so high that I don't think Microsoft or Sony can ever touch them.
No, I don't think they can.
E3 was such a wet fart from a game announcement point of view. And do you know what Nintendo did? Hey, it's time for our Nintendo Direct. We're just going to do the same thing we always do every 3 months. Here you go. And it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievably good.
I'm an avid like Nintendo hater. and
100%.
This shit is like incredible.
I was not going to buy the Switch. The Switch came out. My older brother bought a Switch. He's like, "You got to get this thing. It's so good." I'm like, "No. I bought the Wii U. I bought into the hype. I'm not giving Nintendo another penny of my money for their stupid systems that have all these novelties to them."
Gimmick
right?
consoles,
I figure they went to the Wii, they went to the Waggle control. I'm never going back. They're basically dead to me. Nope, you've got to try it. You got to try it. Well, anyway, I tried the Switch out at his place. Sure enough, then I ended up buying it. This is hands down their best system they've ever released.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%.
Hands down.
It is.
Hands down the best system they've ever released. With an asterisk. You'll never replace the NES and the SNES. The reason why the Switch is so much better than all of them is because it combines all of that into there.
And then
it's portable.
Quality new
it
games
has
too.
The ability for me to pick that damn thing up off the dock and walk out still playing, completely fluid, and then be like, okay, I'm ready to sit down. I put that in my dock and everything fires back up again. It's so good. The Switch is hands down my favorite console of that generation. I'm scared for what the next generation is.
Yeah, I don't want them.
I don't know how they top this.
I don't. Just because so
here's
expensive.
The thing. Absolutely, but you know what? They're primed. They're primed with the way they develop the Switch. All they have to do is sell you the tablet. Keep the controllers.
Yeah, that's
Keep
true.
everything the same. Well, sell me a new tablet.
Make controllers that don't fucking break.
Okay, that's right. Fix the drifting thing. But the thing is that, truthfully, sell me an upgrade kit.
Yeah.
Sell me whatever the Switch upgrade kit is that has an
Switch
upgraded
Pro
everything in it. Yep. And let me buy your online service that will transfer all my crap from old system to new system, and I can plug my controllers in and keep going.
Yeah.
And that Nintendo, that is how you'll keep me as a customer forever. But watch, they're gonna Wii U the crap out of the Switch.
Yeah,
they're gonna do it because that's just how Nintendo works,
it's
right?
Nintendo.
I'm concerned, but Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I can't even.
So good.
I'm just
I think it's
love it.
I think it's that merged world, honestly, because remember when they merged right at the end or whatever, and what's her name? Is it Mia, the cat, the little kitty girl?
Nia.
Wasn't that Nia in the trailer?
I'm
pretty
know.
Sure it was.
So I watched it as kind of like I almost wasn't there watching the trailer because I was like, this is really good, I'm glad. And then I shut off all knowledge. I'm not going back to the subreddits. I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to know anything about it because some idiot's gonna go in and find a spoiler and they'll leak something and they'll ruin it.
Worst. When you ruin games
and
for
like
yourself.
you had somebody do that for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They popped into your chat and they're like, "Oh, doesn't it suck when this happens?" Or "Can you believe that this is something that happens?" Massive spoiler.
Yeah.
It's like nothing drives me more crazy than that. Especially for games like this when they're so
story driven.
They hang on that story so hard that you ruin that story for me.
I think the reason I love Xenoblade is because I love exploration. I love living worlds. Mm-hmm. And
Monolith,
and these worlds were so unique too. Like, oh man, and then the story on top of it all, and the combat in the first one, I will say, kind of sucks ass. But the second game, that's probably the best action RPG combat, bar none.
The combat systems are really good. The way they explain the combat systems is really bad.
That's true. I've had people tell me that they hated Xenoblade 2 because they didn't know how to do the combat.
They didn't
If I didn't
understand
have you
the combat.
tell me how all like the combos and stuff worked, I probably wouldn't have liked it all that much.
Yeah, as soon as you understand, because you wouldn't have completed the game. You can't beat the game until you start
Chaining
doing the
and stuff.
chain
Fuck
breaks.
me, that is like the
orbs.
best combat system ever.
It's so good.
It's
so unbelievably good. But please, Monolith, please, in your new game,
explain how to do the
please
combat.
Explain the combat
The first one
better.
You didn't need to because it was so simple. Xenoblade X was
straightforward.
Stupid overcomplicated.
I didn't even bother. I didn't even do X. I saw you playing it and I'm like, no, I refuse to ruin Xenoblade Chronicles by playing this game.
Yeah.
I just, no. But yeah, that is hands down a day one purchase for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm probably gonna pre-order.
Yeah, that one
I
don't
I don't pre-order games.
If it comes with
I don't pre-order games. I don't day one purchase, and here I am doing both things.
Yeah.
I just until Monolith Soft releases a game that burns me, I'm all in. As far as I'm concerned, they are Squaresoft.
Xenoblade X was kind of rough.
That was bad, but in their defense, those games happened before I jumped on board.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
That's water under the bridge for me.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. There's a lot of good games to look forward to.
So many good games coming.
A lot of good games.
Yep. And the backlog is already so damn full.
Yeah, that's the other
so
crazy
many games
thing.
to play.
I'm streaming all these retro PS1 JRPGs and
all these indie games that are coming out, right? And they just keep popping up.
Yeah.
Here's another good indie game. Here's another good indie game. I'm excited. We're in a drought for good games because what ends up happening is a good game comes out. You play it and you run through it and then it's gone and then we're back to
that's how it has been for probably 6 years or more.
It's been a long time.
Where you have one good game a year or one good game every 2 years and then you play through it and then you wait. Which is why
for Nintendo to drop that Direct, that was a breath of fresh air for me. Because it was bang,
it was
bang,
4
bang.
JRPG fans, I feel right?
And
even Earthbound, Earthbound coming out on the Super NES part of the Switch Online.
They dropped it the day after the announcement, right?
I don't know why they don't just drop their entire fucking
They should just
library,
do the whole thing.
But
yeah. You know what? You want me to get your upgraded membership? Do that.
No doubt.
Here you go. You want the entire library of SNES and NES? That's worth $25 extra a year to me.
Especially with that online, being able to play that online, that's a super cool feature that they have. I don't know why they don't lean more into that.
They have to fix their online.
They do.
Well, because their online sucks.
But yeah, it's
absolutely.
just great to have a fuckload of games to look forward to for once.
Yeah, absolutely. Some hope.
Yeah, some hope. All right, guys.
Right on.
Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you're listening to this on Spotify, make sure to check out this on YouTube. You can check out the video version, youtube.com/Dookie03. If you're watching this on YouTube and you like to listen to stuff, podcasts and stuff in your car, you can always listen to us on Spotify instead. If you just search Relaxed Retro Talk, we will come up. I am Dookie03. We both stream on Twitch. I am, of course, on Twitch at twitch.tv/Dookie03.
And you can find me at twitch.tv/DGOnline. And
we'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully we don't have this big of a gap between our next podcast. But
yeah, we'll podcast again. Come check us out in the Discord. You post all the links in your description.
Yeah, so absolutely. Check all the links.
Click on those
below.
links. There's links there. Click them all.
Click
and
them
come
all,
hang out with us. It's a fun time.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one, everyone.